अभी तंजीम के मेरे में बदल रहा है अभी तंजीम के मेरे में आज जो मुंबई यूथ एजुकेशन कॉन्फ्रेंस के बारे में यहाँ से जो भाषण देंगे तो मैं आपको ये पूरा यहाँ से शो किया जाएगा ताऊ संगाता क्योंकि तंजीम के मेरे में चला फिर आया चुको तेजिंगाता मुंबई यूथ एजुकेशन कॉन्फ्रेंस का को कोरचे को समावेश सोचना किम ये शुद्ध मनुष्य शंके शेन लांजो थिंग तंगपुक सोचन थिंग तंगपुक करता समावेश तंजीम के मेरे में चला से चुको सरशे चुको समाना दम ये शुद्ध
and all the sangha members, my dear students, and a special welcome to all the Tibetan students who have gathered here from.
चुको तेजोदा 다 현재 즉 나다 monexhenke people monexhenke 다 차상 people 이제 그 나다 저거 말 당가다 전주 부의중에 저거 다 배바 저거 다 Tibetan youth 나의 저거 배바 임시도
Two important teachings that Lord Buddha gave us.
आज में जो मुंबई जो यूथ लोग आया हुआ है मीटिंग में तो खास के जो टिबेटन जो सारनाथ से वाराणसी से और जहाँ तहाँ से मतलब टिबेटन यूथ मतलब एजुकेटेड लोग भी यहाँ में जो आया हुआ है तो अभी रिमिच यहाँ जो भाषण दिया जा रहा है तो रिमिच अभी कह रहा है इंग्लिश में हमें जो परिवर्तन लेना बहुत ही जरूरी है तो दूसरा जो हम सिखाना है तो सेकेंडली दूसरा जो हम ये जानना है कि जो इंटर टिबेटन्स का जो बारे में जो आश्रित है उसका बारे में जानना बहुत जरूरी है अभी जो परिवर्तन जो अभी करना है वो आ रहा है तो लॉर्ड बुद्धा ने कहा है कि तो
So it's a great honor for me today to stand here in front of all of you, and I want to remind all of you that this is not a common gathering or a common meeting. We are creating history in Torah.
지금 다섯 번째 카드에 즉 잉글리시 카큐레이션도 진행 대신 갔다 와서 지금 다시 미팅을 들으시면 지금 맞아서 막 게임대임 시행하는 갔다 지금 또 로그인을 안 오대임 여기 주들
So we are creating history.
지금 갔다 시행하는 또한 그 지금 로기 있어요 것은 로기 뒤쪽 것은 모르니
So I'm here to talk about the aim and objectives.
当然说的是我当米军呢这个也有把钱嘛这个学到呢
Sometimes we count many things. This is the first thing, this is the second thing. Not so relevant, not so practical ones. So today, I'm going to talk about some practical things. Some things that really matters in Taoism. Something related to us. So let's say that So from 10 years from now, what kind of Taoism we wanted to see? What are the changes? So all the students who came here for the conference, you have to have a vision in your life. You need to have a goal in your life. So vision, I'm not talking about next life. I'm not talking about nirvana, which are very far away. I'm not talking about 30, 40 years. I'm talking about 10 years. So in 10 years,
also remember that no one yang ngata pe chichime nyo china de samana jago da chna pa ni de samana jago thar mi pe ngata da chna samasa ne ta ngata je tombe ji tombe de jago jibli umde ni amar ko je ngata jago bomba ya ko som ni ne ngata je sanje ko bong ko je ne kewa chime nyo china jago samdo wa ne thar mi de samana ni na de ni shido
in next 10 years. So let's first talk about ecology of Taoism. We live in a very fragile Himalayan mountain belt. It's a very new part of the world
ngatang ko
that was
Himalaya
small
river so gama
recently in the
richak pa prusha da imbo
due
ni
to major earthquakes.
singene ne chik
These
kata za
mountains
ta
are very
chamano
new, the
sombol me
rivers
yoro
are
dam
new,
burni
they're very fragile.
singene
Our
fragile
environment
ne
is
ngata
very
chakpa ha
fragile.
ko sombol me
So we
yoro da
need to
ngata
protect
Himalaya
it.
river so pe richak pa sha da imbo
So when we
ama
talk
chik ngata
about
ecological ne
protecting
ngata
our
tender da
environment,
ngata khoryu ko
the
rangji
responsibility
ko rangjung
lies
tender
with
ba so chik
students.
ngata samdong ko zumbur
We
ni
have to make plans for the next 10 years
chik ngata
how
nga
we are going
ta
to
shuk
solve
putom chik
our
ne sa ngata
environment.
sisiru ki kenam ipa
Let
je
me
da
point
chamano
one
sam
or
thoya
two
chik
things.
charjing ni ko da chamano kedem ni na do
I have spent most of my last 25 years in South India and haven't spent much time in Taiwan. It was only this year that I spent long time in Taiwan. And within this short period, I've seen cloudbursts in Taiwan, which we haven't heard for a long time. We had drinking water crisis in Taiwan, which we haven't faced for a long time. We see major landslides in the road to Taiwan.
ko pina
which
gibe
we
che
haven't
bena
seen
je
for
tomba
long.
khilelen lo ne che ka di ton ye ngada
So
ton ne
these
nga che
are
ko ke ri ko
real
ne che
challenges
ko
for all of
che ngada
you
ton ne
students.
nga ta chi thong ma
When
nang
you
che
plan
ko
your
ko no
future,
kangal ye che ko ma
whatever
tong
you
ye na do
do, you have to bring your environment with you. What are the causes for this?
che ko
Cloudburst is not
ngata yong so che pa brain
what
me
we,
ne che ngata yong
sometimes
so
we
che ko
say
da la
God's
ta
act.
ta sam
It's
no
not
mo no
God's
yim bur
act.
che
It's
ko yong so
entirely
sam
human
no
act.
nang go sum bur ye na do
I'm not a scientist, but we all know that cloudburst happens
shin tare ni
when
pe
the
scientist
atmosphere air, the
scientist
temperature
ke me bur
rises.
ye
When the temperature of the air rises, it becomes warm and it holds larger moistures in the sky. So the larger number of water is preserved in the sky and it falls down immediately, so the cloudburst happens. So this is scientific saying, not me. That is one thing.
다다 직
So how we are going to
다다
prevent
주면서
those
나고
things?
봐 당가 당다 독천나 본도 히말라야
And the next
리착고
important
임보를
thing,
고 선벌만 로도 임보를
just
고
yesterday
당가 다
on
깨리는
the
거도
Nadi
임보를
Jayanti,
고
we
당가
had the
다
water
적고
crisis in
어떤
Taiwan
거라도
for the whole
남마라셔도
Taiwan.
나나 사이언티스트 매나
Thanks to the
신들의
district
적고 어서
administration and
scientific
our
mind
minister
매나
and
scientist
all the concerned
전리바나 예 나는
groups was
물은 예 나는 이슈도
resolved within one day. But how do these drinking water problems come in Taiwan? When I was young,
나당 동안에 적고
before I
티통
became
시기
a
정도로
monk,
예
I lived as a nomad. I go with the yachts and animal breeding. You all know that everywhere we go in Taiwan, we can drink the water directly. There's never a water shortage crisis in Taiwan.
다다 지인 나다 동안에 적고 직권 놓고
That we
특강할
have
때 오는
water
게
storage
나도
tanks, locally what we call sin tanks. We do not have in Taiwan water storage tanks because the water comes naturally and we drink it. But now we need water storage tanks. The flow of drinking water becomes uncertain. So a place like Taiwan, which is the hub of drinking water in Asia, the purest water, if we are facing these problems, something is wrong with our environment. So the responsibility again lies on our young generations. How should we plan our life ahead so that our environment is not disturbed? That is the second thing.
그 지인에는 가다 적당하다 코리오카 들사모나
And
저거다 nhập제 야야
I
저거
want to be
약통만
frank.
모르는 나도
This is a festive season in Taiwan now. My dear Tibetan students, you might have seen long traffics in Taiwan. Maybe our home minister also face difficulties to come to the venue with large traffics.Maybe you have pilots, so the police clear the road for you, but not for the general public. So traffic is becoming a
던전이
main problem in
지능에는
Taiwan.
가다 동안에 가지고다
So urban
트래픽
planning,
요지
development
요지고
of
데
our houses. We cannot do
강할
anything
때로도 뭐니
without
나도 말로
townships.
예나도
We have to plan our townships. And this doesn't rest on the district administration alone. The responsibility lies in each and every citizen of this town. Let me
그
give you one
마당
example.
뒤에서 지고 다당가당 트래픽
I was in
네
Japan
고정원이
in
도 강할
2011.
바지베 오늘 애드미니스트레이션 그 세티면은 뭐로
And I was
용도서
walking on
가다
one of the busiest
미망
train
참에서
station
미티리
in
이집
Tokyo.
냐파 미망 레레 강보서 찍마다
In front
동에서야
of me,
용서시
there was
찍고
a person
어째서
walking,
삼동 거서
and
게르는
he
부르긴
took out
하다
something from his pocket. Accidentally, a piece of small cartridge fell down from his pocket. He was unaware of that. unintentional. So the person walked away. Yes, the next person who is walking after him was the pilot of the bullet train. He went and picked up that trash, put it into his own pocket and went. So this is how we keep the city clean. We cannot always blame the administration. Every individual has to take responsibility.
City
I'm not a great economist, but I see that 80% of Taiwan's economy is going to be homestay and hotels, hospitality economy. So if we do not plan well, we are going to be the next Mussoorie and Shimla and Gantok. I was in Mussoorie last year. The traffic for 35 kilometers from Dehradun to Mussoorie takes 6 hours. Nobody wants to go to such a place where traffic is the main concern. So if we want to make Taiwan economically great, we have to respect traffic. So this is again one responsibility that the younger generations here, you have to be mindful of all of those things. That is one thing I want to remind you. So this is about the impermanence teaching. These changes are going to come anyway, but the Tibetan arising teaching on the dental teaching by Buddha says we can all face it together so that we move forward. Next, I want to talk about people of Taiwan. We have many centuries of historical connection, cultural connection, spiritual connection with Tibet, with Buddhism, with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Taiwan being the birthplace of 6th Dalai Lama. And I also wanted to tell everyone that in December 4 to 6, there is going to be an international conference of 6th Dalai Lama, a very So what are the moral ethics we have to do? His Holiness the Dalai Lama always says that the people of Himalaya have to show an example to the rest of the India as a moral, responsible community. If your neighbor needs help today, will you go out and help your neighbor today? Or will you just have a sound sleep? Doesn't care, whatever happens to your neighbor. So we are not that community. We are a Buddhist community. We live by morals of love and compassion. The very teaching of the Lord Buddha that you have to help other people. If you cannot help other people, you cannot harm other people. That is our main goal. So when our younger generation grows up, you have to live by this moral principle. Moral principle compassion, love to this town. Then moral people will stop coming to just look at our mountains and lakes. People will also come to look at our monasteries. But monasteries will become empty houses if we do not practice these teachings of Buddha. So the younger generations, in next 10 years, you have to prepare for this. The world is growing very fast. Towards different ways. So how we have to plan our world. Each one of you have your own goal in your life. You have to go forward and plan those So finally, the aim and the objective of this conference is to see that the younger generation of Taiwan, when you grow up in the next 10 years, you become a responsible citizen of this country. you do
training
something
den ji
good
ko
for
mano
your
ye
hometown.
jong in ji ngata
This is a real
pe
thing
kon
of
ba
this
na in
conference.
to bo chong yum bu
This
ye
conference
ta
is
ngata
to,
ni ji ko
when you are,
sam dong so
this
bu ye
conference is to ignite that fire in you to do something for your township. As a student, that is your responsibility. As a student, now is your main responsibility is to study,
uttasha
do
mano
more
ngata
research,
kengor yakoso de yum ni
look
school
for higher studies,
ngata
not just
student ngena laptu na ida chamane
universities and
kengor
colleges
yakoso de
around here.
si ngena da
Go
ngata
for universities
lopchon che tar
worldwide.
chamano chi ko
The
gede mi
door is
bur
open
chi
all
ko
over
da
the
ngata
world.
che ko
We should
lopchon
go
khawa da na
everywhere.
kondo chi song da tar
Bring the
chamane
best
gede mi
wisdom and
ngata
knowledge
yon
and
so se
come
chi
back to
ko
our hometown and serve
school
your hometown. So this
student
is
ngena loptu na yon
the
so se
aim
chi
and
ko
objective
ngata
of this talk.
da lopchon yakoso tar
Finally, in
chamane gede
Tibet,
mi ge so
we have a saying that don't become a burden, but become an ornament. So as a student, you have to become an ornament for our society, not a burden. And I wanted to thank all the guests and students here today. The organizing committee, I've known them for many months. They have really worked day in and hard to put this together for this conference. The organizing members from Sarnath, Wangchenla, Amde Khandi, and all other members,
ko da so ka
they
je me
traveled
che
from
se ko
Sarnath with
mar
our
da so de
multiple
she
plans
dan che
to
ya
make
kan
this
na yim bur
conference
che
a
ko da
success.
so
A
ba na yo da
huge
so da
round of
yo da
applause
che
to
ko
them.
mar ye da
Thank you so much
da
for
chi
having
ne
this
so da
conference.
so
Thank you.